Coming up next, Mike Nevin is taking composting to a whole new level by putting almost 250 kilograms of fruit scraps to use.
Well, I'm Mike Nevin. I work as a composter and compost facilitator at Foodshare, and we generate a lot of food scraps from the kitchen, from our kitchen incubator, from our kitchen training, and from the Good Food Box where we do bulk produce. So a lot of food scraps, I'd say 200 to 300 kilograms a week.
You don't have to cry.
What are you going to do with the food scraps if you don't compost them? Well, you could landfill them, and because food scraps are very liquid, to put food scraps into a landfill would give you leachate. And remember what else is in the landfill? A lot of electronics, a lot of the metals that are in computer stuff. So you combine that leachate with that stuff and create a real toxic brew. A lot of people just do yard waste. We largely do food scraps. Now we have some leaves from the schoolyard here that the caretakers gave. I shred up newspaper. You need a carbon source. You need something to balance the excess nitrogen and balance the excess moisture. So something like shredded newspaper, shredded leaves, shredded or ripped up cardboard, shredded up egg cartons, treat chips, wood shavings. I use that. I try to balance every batch to get a good balance of carbon and nitrogen and a good balance of wet and dry. And carbon and nitrogen, that's just jargon for you have to have a balanced diet for the microorganisms that are actually doing the composting. They're actually doing the breakdown. I'm going to look at one of my cells. I'm going to take a temperature on it, and then I'm going to start turning it. Like in my particular method, I turn things, it's hot composting method, and you turn it to like mix, to aerate, and also to make as an empty space. Like I got more food scraps coming because they produce a lot of food scraps every week. For people that do this sort of commercially or on a big scale, they would want 55 degrees Celsius for 3 days. This is an EPA, Environmental Protection Agency regulation from the States, but those regulations are probably applied. This sets a guideline for here. So I'm very close to 55 Celsius. I got 60 degrees Celsius of difference in this cell, and that tells me this thing's really cranking out the heat. And why that is a lot of energy in the food scraps. And the little microorganisms are just eating that stuff, getting that energy, and that's heating up this cell, and it kind of collects the heat, kind of lets the heat build up. Chop your stuff up small bits, mix with a carbon source, and then bury it. And I can explain why you have these rules. You chop your food scraps into small bits, which the kitchen has already done because they're peeling stuff. And they're chopping stuff up already. But you make surface area for the little microorganisms to get at the food scraps. I mean, if you just have, like, say, a whole potato, skin intact, well, how is anybody going to get into the insides of that? So you chop your stuff, dice it up, chop it into small bits, mix it with a carbon source, because food tends to be rich in nitrogen, it tends to be wet, and then you bury it. Like composting happens underground. I think as many people as could compost on site, it would, I think, save money, and you get a better quality product, and you have less of a carbon signature, carbon footprint.